Hello, everybody, and welcome to Curtis's Podcast Network. I'm the host of the channel. My name is Curtis Brown, and this is this AFC South show 127. And we're going to be talking Week 12 reactions in the AFC South. We got three teams with a dub, one team with a loss, but we'll get into that. First, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. We're at 396 subs. That's right, we're growing slowly but surely, much like puberty. Where the goal here is 420 and then eventually 1,000. So help us along the way of reaching that goal.
Just skipping 400.
You say what?
So we're just skipping 400 straight to the weed number. Straight to about 400.
Straight to the weed number. And then after 1,000 is 69. That's the big goal.
I like
so. That. Like goal on this episode. It's a reaction. Let's go 35 on this one. Let's go 35. We're feeling froggy. With me today to talk Jacksonville Jaguars, Isaiah, a.k.a. Duval's Finest, a.k.a. the Glitter Kitty Tamer, a.k.a. Just for Men. No, I'm just kidding. He's like, whoa, my lady is watching. Probably. Yeah, we all know that our ladies are not watching.
Women.
I don't care about that. With me, as always, our resident Titans fan, Blake. Don't ask what that smell is, Bellamy. Just
what?
It's the Sharpie from grading these papers, y'all.
Yeah. He's a little loopy. I am too, though, so it's fine. And then filling in for Jeff, Alex Boyajian of the Chaotically Intolerant podcast. Please go like and subscribe to everything he does. We'll be collaborating with him further on some blogs. So if you like reading some articles, we're going to be doing some writing with them. So check him out. Subscribe to everything he's got and check out chaoticallyintolerant.com. Alex, what's up, brother?
I just found out the Pop-Tarts Bowl is going to have an edible mascot. So we need to do that with more mascots. I would love to eat that green M&M. She's fucking hot, man. Love to eat her.
Have you guys heard?
I hope there's no children in earshot of that
I've got to get some,
Yeah, the Pop-Tart man will not be making it out of that stadium. If it was brown sugar cinnamon, I would actually put a hit out on it. But have you guys seen the Big Ten Championship game is going to be a co-sponsored event with the WWE?
That's cool.
They'll have both brands on the field the entire time. Like they've got like the 25-yard line logo deal that they have. Well, SEC or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, say big
all that Saudi money.
Yeah, for real. Oh my God, all of the Saudi money
going to the NCAA. That's how it should be.
Yeah. And then I don't know if anybody knows now, but CM Punk is now back in the WWE for the first time in 9 years. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. Welcome back to the squared circle, my guy. Getting into the football now, let's start off with the division game. The Texans and the Jaguars, Jacksonville, trying to come into Houston to avenge a loss earlier in the year. And they do just that to the tune of a 24-21 victory. As the Texans fan, I'm going to take the lead on this one, and then Isaiah can fill in from the victorious perspective.
After you, sir.
So that was a ref game, huh? I'm not going to sit here and say that the refs won or lost the game for either team because it was pretty down the middle when it comes to both teams had egregious calls. I don't know what those refs were on,
but I want some.
Yeah, they were like, we all bet the under, so that's what we're going to make happen. And they did 24-21, just barely under, just barely. 45.5 was the actual number. So refs are in on the game. I can feel it. Beyond that, the Jacksonville Jaguars came in with a very very effective and phenomenal game plan of let's just destroy CJ Stroud. And for a second there, it looked like it was going to work after he got up limping. But 4 sacks today. The offensive line was just not. They weren't. They were just not. Titus Howard left early with an injury, and Juice Scruggs, who was just activated off IR, came in and played left guard. The running game was non-existent after 2 straight weeks of Devin Singletary hitting the century mark. He got 6 carries. So I don't know how much to really shoulder, like whose shoulders the blame should be on particularly. I can tell you that the defense did not play well. I can tell you that the defensive line was not creating any sort of pressure. And it looked like the secondary was playing very, very far off most of the time. They had Steven Nelson and Tavier Thomas basically alternating on who was covering Calvin Ridley and oh god, what was the other kid's name? It's not Ridley. I guess they were just alternating on Ridley. But Tavier Thomas got cooked a couple of different times by Mr. Ridley. And that was kind of surprising. He's had a really phenomenal year. He's actually ranked as like a top 10 corner in the NFL this season.
Is that number 4?
Number 4.
Yeah, Christian Kirk. He matched up with Christian Kirk a lot in the game too.
Okay, and Kirk, yeah, because he's predominantly a slot corner. So that's who I was forgetting. It was Kirk. And then they left Stingley over there with Zay Jones, who had a decent game. It wasn't great, but there wasn't much pressure at all dialed up by the original just front 4 linemen. If there was pressure, it was a blitz, and very often it was there way too late. Trevor Lawrence threw all over the yard. There was no answers. There was no stopping him. How did Etienne do? Didn't he have like almost 100 all-purpose yards?
He had 56 yards rushing.
Yeah, I think he had 56 rushing. I think he had a little bit receiving, but I don't know how
30.
close
Yeah,
it was.
30. He had 4 catches,
Okay, yeah.
30 yards.
So 86 yards in total.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a quieter day. No, I'll take that as a victory. But this game was basically the offensive game plan was, all right, we're going to rely on Stroud. And that's not going to win you a lot of games relying on a rookie quarterback, regardless of how good he is. You've got to have some sort of complementary football happening to be able to win games. Everybody's jumping on the kicker's throat right now, but I think we all should be jumping on the guys who are dropping passes, the guys who are not getting open, the linemen who aren't blocking, the running backs who aren't blocking, which has been a problem with Dameon Pierce all season and in the preseason. We have a lot of issues all around, and then one really, really bright spot, and then another bright spot. The really bright spot being obvious, the bright spot being Tank Dell. But 2 players does not a team make, and that's basically what the team is being run like right now. Bobby Slowick is still, I guess, testing the waters with some of these players. Nico Collins had a pretty solid day, but he's not a number 1. We need a number 1. We need a guy who strikes fear into the heart of defenses. We don't have that. We've got nothing close to that. Tank Dell is basically a field stretcher, but he's small and has been hurt and misses games. And when he does, we are not able to move the ball very well at all. Perfect example, the Carolina Panthers game. With that being said, there is still plenty of hope in the season. We've got 6 games that we're looking at right now. I think 5 games now, whatever. Got 6 weeks left. Hang on, Texans fans. Don't start throwing your torches in the fire. It's not time to fold up the lawn chairs and call it a day. There's football to be played. Just breathe. I'm pretty sure we released him today, but Matt Amendola was not the reason we lost that game. Okay. Isaiah or anybody else, you guys can go.
Anybody respond to him first, and then I'll go, or everybody good?
I'll
You
let
go.
Blake go. He can go.
Okay. So one thing I really wanted to say was kind of with the whole officiating thing. Yeah, the refs are terrible. Not only are they terrible at that game, I feel like they've been horrible throughout the NFL this season. I mean, just right now watching the Monday night game, it's just they're throwing flags constantly. They're really slowing the speed of the game down. It's just making the viewership just not as good. The whole experience. But to your actual game, I actually had Houston winning this game. Mostly because of CJ Stroud. I am a firm buyer into CJ Stroud. I think this guy is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL very, very soon. He already is one of the best ones this year. I know the quarterback play hasn't been great throughout the entire league this year, but he's dominant. I mean, he was your leading rusher, his leading passer. The guy, he probably could have caught some balls out there if someone else could throw it to him. He's been absolutely incredible. Another thing, though, with that is Dameon Pierce. I mean, we're so high on him out the draft, his rookie year. I think he's one of the league's biggest disappointments when it comes to like second year, like going to go off. He hasn't done that at all. I mean, I think he had 20 yards this past game. It was rough to watch. Houston's such a young team, and it's really been fun watching them play this year. But you got to give a lot of credit to Jacksonville. I mean, Trevor Lawrence arguably probably had his best game of the year, and his 2-game stretch now against two AFC South opponents. It's been good, man. You got to give it credit when it's due. And then for the defense, I mean, Josh Allen was just all over the place. He was making CJ Stroud's life hell, and you got to really give credit for CJ Stroud. He didn't throw any picks. Did he fumble it at all?
No,
I don't
Anyone
think-
know?
I
Stroud, I didn't catch anything. But yeah, it was good to watch Jacksonville's defense kind of jump all over the field. I mean, Josh Allen just being that dude. Offense, not really a whole lot to say for Jacksonville's offense. I mean, they did their job. I do think that Calvin Ridley has been doing a lot better lately. He's another guy that they've had a couple game stretch where like they're actually looking really good. Maybe they'll build some chemistry because Calvin Ridley's just been such a hit or miss receiver this year. He will just dominate for a game or two and then just disappear and then come back. And now he's putting up some numbers and consecutive games. So it'd be nice to kind of see him get going. But it was a good game. I mean, it was one of the better games of the entire slate on Sunday. So it's kind of cool seeing some AFC South teams like really bring in some viewership and making this division fun because, the last several years, I mean, our division's been terrible.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's
So,
been
yeah,
just
good job,
abysmal
Jags.
most
And
of
good job, Texans, honestly. I think Texans, I mean, it has. And if I'm a Texans fan, I'm still happy. Like losing that close of a game. It's impressive. I mean, this is a team coming into the year where, I mean, the ceiling was 5 or 6 games, and they've already gotten that. So, I mean, it's a good season for basically 3 teams in the AFC South.
Yeah.
Titans not included in those 3.
Alex.
So the refs have been. I agree with Blake. Across the league. I mean, the Josh Allen thing with I think it was intentional grounding. He got ripped down by his collar in the Bills-Eagles game. Like his collar was literally ripped, and they were like, "No, you threw the ball, so it's intentional grounding," which was crazy.
Yeah, and then this Bears Vikings game, dude had his helmet ripped off and broke his face mask.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. These refs are horrible. This reminds me of the replacement refs like 2012.
Yeah. I didn't really. I tried to watch as much of this game as I could. I was pretty invested in the Colts, but I knew this is. I mean, the AFC South is going to be the new battleground. I think for the AFC. I mean, I think this Texans team reminds me of the 2012 Colts so much. Just a brand new quarterback comes in with a rookie head coach. And they come in and he just completely changes the team. He turns them into a monster, basically. I really haven't seen anybody do that since Andrew Luck came to the Colts. I mean, Burrow, maybe, but we didn't really know what he was going to do because he got hurt mid-year. But CJ Stroud, he looks like a 5-year vet, the way that he just stands in the pocket. He's so comfortable. And the Jags, I mean, you guys haven't wrapped it up because I don't think the Texans are ever dead. because they've shown time and time again that they're never dead. But this was the game. I mean, you have the tiebreaker over the Colts. Not sure what the tiebreaker situation would be. I know you guys split, but I don't know what the exact tiebreaker situation would be. But now it's what, a 2-game lead.
As long as Jacksonville goes 3-3 to finish the year, it doesn't matter how the Texans finish. It will be the first in the AFC South.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, yeah, you guys have pretty much wrapped it up. I can't imagine your schedule is that difficult down the stretch, anyways.
No, we have no Joe Burrow. We have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, but we always have their number for some reason. We have the Titans one more time.
Easy.
It's a pretty easy schedule the rest of the year. Yeah, I mean, with this game, CJ Stroud looked really good again. It really does suck. I'm a big Florida fan, so like Dameon Pierce coming onto the scene last year, he killed it, and then this year, I even said that in the preview. Just like this year, he just hasn't done anything. He normally plays really well against Jacksonville, and he broke about 40 tackles in the backfield and got like 10 yards. So, he just couldn't put it together. The offensive line for you guys was just kind of falling apart all night. And Josh Allen, I mean, he's been so fucking good this year. I think he's got 12 sacks in the year after that game. He just passed Yannick Ngakoue for second place for sacks in Jaguars history. He now only trails Tony Brackens by 15.5 sacks. So, the end of this season, if we re-sign him next year, he'll probably take that record. Trayvon Walker, people talk shit about Trayvon Walker, but he's actually played a lot better than what his stats say. At 4.5 sacks, he's already got more than he did last year. He's got 36 QB pressures. And that's according to PFF before this game. Josh Allen's had a couple where the quarterbacks run into him or he's pushed him out of bounds, like against the Colts. So, the overall numbers aren't really reflecting for Trayvon Walker like they are for Josh Allen. But this was another game where, like I've said in the past, Trayvon Walker is beating tackles pretty handily sometimes, but our interior D line just has zero push. And Devon Hamilton was another healthy scratch. And so, quarterbacks like CJ Stroud, have good pocket awareness. They're just going to step up and take the shot, or they're going to step up and, get out of the pocket. One of the things I will commend CJ Stroud on as well is the fact that, even when he looks like he's about to run and take off for 20 yards, he stays back there as long as he can and looks for that down the field play. And he hit Tank Dell 2 or 3 times on broken plays where he was just running around outside the pocket and, made a play downfield. He got Nico Collins with 1-2. It's just, he's really good. The O-line didn't do him any favors, and really, I'm hoping they can kind of shore that up in the off season, and you can't really do much about it during the season. But, the defense played well-ish at times for Jacksonville. We had some times where we kind of just let them move the ball easy. Other times they got some good stops. Josh Allen had that clutch sack at the end of the game on the last drive. But stuff like the fact that on one of the drives we got on first down, I believe we sacked CJ Stroud, and it was like 2nd and 25. And then they run one play and it's like 3rd and 3. It's like, we can't let that happen. You can't play prevent in that situation. You need to play aggressive football. You need to be up on it, because 2nd and 25 turns into 3rd and 20, and it's a whole different story than 3rd and 3. I'm just getting tired of us getting conservative whenever we get up on teams. The officiating was absolutely terrible. Of course, Texans fans are saying it was all in Jacksonville's favor, and then Jags fans are saying it was all in the Texans' favor, and that it was terrible on both sides. You have the people that are down the aisle saying, it was bad on both sides. It really was. There were missed calls. It's like, I told somebody in the Florida game and I told somebody in the Texans game, whenever there was like back-to-back PIs, the first one was definitely by the book a PI, but just because I say something's by the book and it happened doesn't mean I like it and how it was called. I do think there were definitely some bad calls and some missed calls for both sides. So I don't want to put the narrative out there that I think either team won or lost because of the refs, but they were definitely not doing either team any favors in that game.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence tied his career high with 364. He might have been like 1 behind his career high for passing yards. That was refreshing to see. And his best throw of the game was that throw to Calvin Ridley down the left sideline where he dropped it in the end zone. He's had a lot of throws like that this year that have been great deep balls, and they just get dropped. He has 0 turnover worthy throws past 20 yards for the season, and he's the number 1 ranked quarterback in 20-plus yard plays this year. It's tough to see a great throw like that hit a receiver in both hands and him just drop it. And like I said before the game to Jeff, for fantasy, Calvin Ridley, if Zay Jones is playing, he's going to go off because he's a good 50-50 guy, Zay Jones. They have to cover him. If he's not there, they can just double Calvin Ridley all night, which Zay Jones was healthy and played. So him and Kirk were able to get loose and get some good yards.
Yeah, it was kind of a problem. The rest of the secondary outside of Stingley is a little better than serviceable. I guess good. I mean, Tavier Thomas is definitely coming into his own, being his top 5 corner or top 5 slot guy at least. But even still, I mean, it's just not a good matchup. Kirk's got that quick burst, and Tavier Thomas just clearly could not keep up.
Yeah, that Stingley interception was another kind of just like one of those plays where it goes right to a player. Yeah. And that was one of the missed calls in the game where they spun Evan Ingram around, and it was just there was a lot of bad stuff in that. And Texans fans, I think Tank Dell caught it, but I do think it was close enough that it should have gone whatever way the call was made on the field. I thought that would be really hard to overturn. I do just want to put that out there, but I do think that was a catch down the sideline for Tank Dell. Great player.
Look, that's a bang play. The referees in that situation, I mean, they made whatever call on the field incomplete, complete, doesn't matter. There's just not, the technology's not there yet. We don't have the camera angles up someone's butt to like get every leaf and blade of grass.
I'm gonna need shoestring cams.
Yeah,
360 view cam like on trucks on the cleats.
Shoestring cams will probably work.
They probably bounce around too much. We have to be,
Yeah, that'd be really hard.
No, but if you put it on like how like when you put it through the holes on your shoes, there's like the very, very bottom
sticking things in holes. Yeah.
You could put it on.
I know what you mean. Yeah. It's the most secure one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get into the next game. The Colts get a W this weekend for the 3rd time in a row.
Woo.
And they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Indianapolis, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, 27-20. Let's hear about your your Colts.
Well, if Roger Goodell canceled the season before Sunday morning next week, the Colts would be going to the playoffs. They would be in the playoffs, which is just crazy.
Goodell.
Huh?
Come on, Goodell. Cancel the season. Come on.
Cancel the season. No more
3 AFC South teams.
No, not
Houston's out.
Houston is not. Houston is out.
Yeah, Houston's in the
hunt. Oh, because Colts had that's right.
Yeah, we do have the tiebreaker. I think that game in Week 18 is going to be that could be a monster.
Yeah, they should probably flex that one.
It's all those games are TBD, so they can flex it to Sunday night.
Yeah,
every game on that Sunday is TBD. So, man, I hope they flex it because they'll put on some shitty Jets game if Aaron Rodgers comes back, and that would be horrible. But
he's talking about it.
Huh?
He's talking about it. Aaron Rodgers talking about coming back. Says December.
Yeah, they said he's coming back.
He's going to practice next week.
Yeah, it's crazy. But this wasn't a convincing win. I know a lot of other Colts fans will say otherwise. Gardner Minshew threw it 41 times, and we were winning most of the game today, which is crazy to me. I have my issues with Shane Steichen, but I do want to say what he's done with this team, the almost absent secondary that we have, and the fact that we're 6-5 with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, that's insane to me. That's not coach of the year. I still think DeMeco Ryans is coach of the year now, but he should be in the running at this point. I mean, just considering everything they've lost. I despise his play calling. The first thing he does when it's 4th and 1, he always tries to do the get him to jump off sides. And I don't think it's worked once this year to get him to jump on 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. If anything, they'll burn timeouts. That's dumb. Jonathan Taylor ran it 15 times today. He was averaging 6.1 yards a carry. He had 91 yards and 2 touchdowns today. Damn. And you were up most of the game. Why are you not giving it to him more? Why is Zach Moss not getting more carries? He was averaging 6.9 yards a carry. And Tampa Bay's run defense is horrendous. Maybe he just really wants Gardner Minshew to get a contract somewhere else, get a starting job somewhere. And he's just trying to show him off as much as he can because I mean, our passing offense is limited. It clearly is. Gardner is not good down the middle of the field, and especially deep, he's okay. He has some good receivers that can go up and get it, but he does not need to throw it 41 times. And the perfect example of this, I'll have the play-by-play here. Tampa Bay was down 27-17 in the fourth quarter. They go down, kick a field goal, 20-27. They're down 7 points. Indy has the ball. I could just
I think your AirPods disconnected, Alex.
Huh?
There it is.
We couldn't hear you for a minute there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. ESPN just started randomly playing a video, which they do all the time. Irritating, but
Thanks, ESPN.
Yeah, the Colts are up 7 points with 4:10 in the fourth. The normal coach would run, no matter what, run the clock down as much as you can, and kick it away. Instead, they run. There's a penalty, holding penalty on Indy, so it drops back to 4th and 15, or 1st and 15, 1st and 20. Sorry, Minshew. They then choose to throw it twice in a row. Stops the clock because incomplete pass on a deep pass to Josh Downs, and then Minshew was sacked again for a loss of 3. So now you're at 3rd and 23 from the 12. Obviously, you have to run it here, but he gets 12 yards and at least gets him out into a comfortable punt position. But you ran less than 2 minutes off the clock. You punted it away with 2:21. What's going on here, man? Like, you're an NFL head coach. You're the offensive coordinator for the NFC champion. How do you not understand these things? You need to be able to understand to run the ball when you're up.
Yeah.
And just abuse your running backs. Just fucking abuse them. They should be running it 40 times a game, 20 times a player. Zach Moss and Taylor should split evenly. I mean, we know great teams can run the ball in December. They run the ball and they play good defense. And I'm telling you, the Colts are going to be missing because they missed out on Jalen Johnson at the deadline. They should have gone and gotten him, but they let him stay in Chicago. They should have paid whatever they wanted to go out and get him, and they could lock him up for a long time.
Yeah.
So they'll have – Jalen Johnson's a monster in Chicago. We're watching him right now. I don't get it. The Colts
got a
won
pick tonight already.
Yeah, it's insane why we didn't do that, but I'm happy we won. Not super convinced again. And the fact that the Colts might make the playoffs and that could extend Chris Ballard's tenure in Indianapolis, because we know Jim Irsay is an emotional guy, it makes me sick because they're going to brag about all the cap space they saved by cutting Leonard, saving it for next year. Why don't you cut him at the end of the year? I'm sure you guys talked about it when it happened, but he was there. He was at the game. That's a guy who loves Indy. You need the depth at linebacker already. Zaire Franklin has been he's been dealing with some injuries. You're still paying Franklin, or you're still paying Leonard. So why not just keep him on the roster for the rest of the year? He wasn't that bad. He was getting back to it, and you could trade him in the offseason. Like, you could get something for him instead of just cutting him. It makes no sense. Your team's 5-5 coming out of the bye, and you cut your defensive leader. What type of morale is that? I think Tampa was just super flat because they came from the West Coast. They're banged up already. We shouldn't have won this game by 7. We should have won this game by 14, in my opinion. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I try to not be negative, but holy shit. If you really look at it, it makes me feel very frustrated how the team's being run.
No, I feel that. I have similar reservations about my Texans. You guys, anybody want to jump on that one?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, especially when it comes to running the football. I don't understand. Like, you guys know how much I love Gardner Minshew. I love that man. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a starting quarterback, but there's no reason for him to have been just like throwing the ball. And he just kept feeding Pittman. Pittman got, I don't know how many targets he got. I think he got like 15, 16 targets on 10 catches. Like, it was crazy. I don't understand why he was doing that, especially when the run game was looking so good. You had 2 running backs that were just dominating the football, and I don't understand why you just don't keep running the damn ball. I'm glad to see like Jonathan Taylor got his numbers. I traded for him last week in fantasy, so those 2 touchdowns are beautiful. But I just don't understand it. And then Zach Moss, yeah, like it's nice seeing him a little bit more involved in the offense, but I think he only had 10 touches, and that's not enough for that guy. I mean, he is a RB1 on a lot of teams. So I don't understand when you have 2 RB1s and you're barely playing either of them. Like, I understand Taylor got 15 carries, which is nice and all, but he's Jonathan Damn Taylor. I mean, he is one of the top running backs in the NFL. Run the damn ball. That was kind of frustrating to see. I also kind of agree. They should have won this game by a lot more. I mean, as of right now, this is a playoff team. The Colts are also exceeding expectations like the Texans. They should have been doing better. Steve Sykin is really not a great coach. I was disappointed when you guys got him because I thought he'd be the coach to kind of put you guys over the edge just because of how bad Frank Reich was. Proves how bad he was. Just got fired after a 1-10 season of the Patriots, or I'm sorry, the Panthers. So I don't get the Indianapolis Colts. Like, you guys are winning games, so like kudos to you guys, but they're just all so ugly. Run the ball more, give the ball to your best players, and you guys just don't do that. It's so strange to me.
Oh, and Gus Bradley needs to be fired too. I mean, Baker Mayfield had a bum ankle most of the game, and he was barely blitzing, barely putting any pressure. Baker struggles under pressure. And I think we have the lowest blitz rate in the league, and our get home rate is like one of the highest in the league. Any child, any like middle school, any middle school defensive coordinator. I was a middle school defensive coordinator. If I knew that our guys were getting home that often, I would blitz every fucking down. I don't care if I give up a big one, because that's the gamble you're taking. I would rather give up a big one and see our guys pin their ears back almost. And I know it's tiring, so not every play, but they should be doing it the majority. Pin your fucking ears back. Go get the quarterback. That is it's a morale boost for the entire defense when you're able to get negative yardage plays. Instead of playing cover 3 on every single play, and then on like 2nd down and 10, you're like, you know what, we're gonna randomly blitz here, and we'll knock them back, but then we're gonna play right at the 1st down on 3rd and long. We're going to put our guys right on the 1st down line, and we're going to give them everything in between. And then we're not going to tackle.
Yeah, that's the old school Gus Bradley.
Should not have a job.
Yeah, he's a bend but don't break kind of guy. And yeah, you got to blitz more. It's the NFL, man. You got to put pressure on the court, especially a guy like Baker Mayfield. Not a big dude, not very fast. Like you said, bum ankle. Get to the man. I mean, he threw for 250 yards? Like, that should have not happened with Baker Mayfield. It was bad. I just don't understand it. I mean, sacks are drive killers, and the Colts never get sacks.
We have the most strip sacks in the league, actually. I saw the stat randomly, which I'm like, wow, that's an awesome stat. I wish we would abuse that more. Our guys are fantastic. Why don't we do it more?
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't, but I get what you're saying.
Okay. I don't know. This Colts team is about as confusing as like a Pablo Picasso piece of art, where like the ears on the left side of the face, like on the cheek, and you're just like, why? Why is this here?
Yeah. A lot of Colts fans are sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but lot of Colts fans are just happy that they won. I see it all over the place. So like Colts win, I'm like, well, yeah, it's always good to see your team win. Like a win in the NFL is a win in the NFL. I'm not saying that. But this is not what's the word I'm looking for? Just you can't do it every year. And it kind of felt like they were doing it with Richardson, which I understand you're limited with what Richardson had at the time. And again, I'm not like freaking out to the point where I'm like, we should fire Steichen just because of this, because this is his first year. It's an unorthodox year. But these are things that, I mean, this is a time to really fix this stuff and like go through and understand what's going on and week to week show these improvements that you're making. And Gus Bradley has not made an improvement in his defense since he's been hired in Indianapolis. And that was years ago. He has not changed at all.
Yeah.
And I'm sick and tired of seeing the same defense, but I hate prevent. Hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. It's a zone defense kind of league, you know? I mean,
yeah.
You just there's a lot of fast dudes. You got to give them the space so they can, try to make a play when the ball is in the air. But, God, there was something I was going to say. I can't remember what it was, though. I don't know.
Go Jags, right? No.
You guys got anything else on the Colts game?
I mean, just
Colts suck.
yeah, that too. But no, I mean,
Okay.
really, just like we said in the preview, they just don't run the ball enough. It's ridiculous. You have, the guy who led the league in rushing yards, 2 years ago, 2021 was whenever Taylor led.
Yeah.
You have Zach Moss, who was leading the league in rushing yards for the first 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and missed the first week due to a broken arm. And they're getting less than 30 carries between the two of them per game, or less than 40 even. I mean, the numbers should really be flipped. Gardner Minshew should be throwing 15 to 20 times a game, and they should be running the ball 35 to 40 times a game. When you have two bell cow backs who can do that, it just doesn't make any sense. And I mean, the defense, Gus Bradley, that was kind of his problem in Jacksonville, was that it looked great because he had a couple guys that could rush the passer, Unique Ngakoue, those kind of guys, but it just doesn't win you games. And Blake Bortles threw 35 touchdowns one year, and we still had a losing record. We won like 3 or 4 games that year, 5 games, whatever it was. It's like, when you do that, but your defense just sits back and lets people score too, it doesn't really help. So,
Comes back to complimentary football.
Yeah. And also, like Alex mentioned, you cut a guy who's consistently been one of your best players in the middle of the season for no reason. Like the cap space doesn't help you now. You can't sign anybody that's worth a damn. It's like, it doesn't make any sense just for them to not spend the cap next year.
Yeah.
Did Darius Leonard get claimed by anybody?
No.
No, his contract was way too big. Nobody was going to pick him up for that.
Everybody said the same thing about Zach Cunningham, and the Titans were like, "We got you, bro."
Well, we had Jonathan
That's
Robinson.
Titans.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I'm shocked they didn't extend him. Gave him like a fully guaranteed deal.
They did, and then they cut him.
We didn't
They-
extend him.
They extended him because Houston gave him like a 4-year, $50-some-odd million deal, and then they had to renegotiate when they got into Tennessee because his cap hit the next year was supposed to be massive.
Mm-hmm.
And so he played 2 years, and then they cut him after the renegotiation season.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say. 9 times out of 10, most fans fall into this category. After a win or a loss, you're either excited or sad, and nothing can take you off of that, or you're the fan that sits there and you're like, I see the cracks starting to form. I feel like that's us. I feel like we're the cracks starting to form kind of guys. It's not that we're not positive about it. It's just more that we see the issues that are going to happen and will be problems later on, even in a victory.
Yeah.
That's where Alex is coming from, Colts fans.
Yeah.
Check all my threads. Check my threads account during the game.
Check your privilege. Oh, sorry.
I'm like saying the Colts are going to the Super Bowl. I'm ecstatic that the Colts won. And then I sleep on it, and you look at like all these issues, and it's like, so like I'm looking at Taylor's 2021 stats. They were averaging 19.5. He was averaging 19.5 attempts per game, which in his big, he had some games where he probably didn't carry as much, obviously. So like in his big games, he was carrying the ball 25 to 30 times a game.
Yep.
He's one of the few bell cow backs left. A lot of these guys are now more passing backs. They're not used as much. They can't take the abuse. He can take it 30 times and get hit. I know he's had injury stuff, but every running back has that. That is not an excuse to me that he's had injury stuff. Yeah. Name me a running back that hasn't had an injury issue for 1 or 2 years at least. Yeah. You're paying the guy, and again, I hate you're paying him this much, so he has to do this. But if you're a coach, you're paying him all that money. Use him. Use Zach Moss. It's sitting in front of you. It's sitting right in front of you, and you just can't touch it. He just doesn't know what to do with him.
You have Zach Moss on a rookie deal. Like he's literally a free player.
Yeah, he's like he is there for him and John. You got to buy one, get one free. Basically, that's what you get.
Yeah,
and you're letting it sit on your shelf right now.
Yeah, you got 2 solid ass running backs. I mean, basically, it's like, you ever tried to give advice to somebody and they're in a bad situation and like they just don't listen to you and they continue to do the bad things that made their situation so bad, and you're just like, if you just listen one good time, you wouldn't have this issue at all.
Yeah.
That's the Colts. That's the Colts right
And
now.
they're not going to spend money in the offseason either if Ballard's there too. Maybe it's because of Irsay. Somebody pointed out maybe Irsay's telling Ballard what to do. It's not exactly a favorable position.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Frank Reich got a real bad – he's had two of the worst owners to be under, two of some of the worst. I mean, Jerry Jones is pretty bad. But some of the worst owners to be under, they're meddling. Jim Irsay meddles, and I think he thinks because he had Peyton Manning, he's the expert. Like Bill Polian was the architect.
Yeah.
And Bill Polian knew what he was doing. He probably knew how to handle Irsay. Irsay, he's probably telling Ballard, don't sign this guy, but Ballard is also the guy that's like, hey, we don't need to spend that much money. I still don't think I think Ballard would spend more, but he wouldn't spend as much as needed. Go fucking all in. You have your rookie quarterback ready to go next year. Go all in. Get a defense.
Yeah.
Get anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're going to be getting Grover Stewart back next week, not against the Titans, but the week following.
Yeah,
and that's going to be huge.
Because we struggled against Rashad White. We couldn't stop him. It felt like.
Yeah. I think I heard his
He's
stat.
another guy that should have ran the ball more.
Do what?
Yeah.
He's another one that should have ran the ball more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he also only had like 15 carries. We had 100 yards.
Yeah.
He is a monster. I don't know. Yeah, he had 100 yards. I mean, I don't know how they're not giving him the ball 25 times a game. Just watching him run, just as his athleticism, his power, his speed. Put him anywhere else. Put him on the Chiefs. He'll go off. They'll give him the ball every single time. They can't catch.
Yeah, that's true. Man. All right. Well, let's get to this Titans Carolina Panthers game. The Titans, for the fourth time this season, find themselves in the win column after a football game. So 17-10 final score, Titans over the Panthers. This was not necessarily a get-right game, but do you think this is more of a – I mean, we can still beat, some teams in the league kind of game?
Yeah, this was the toilet bowl. This was two of the bottom 5 teams in the NFL going at it. I mean, in theory, the Titans should have won, but, we're not a good team. So it's like, yeah, we won, but we struggled. I mean, if Frank Wright wasn't such a bad coach and a terrible play caller, Titans are losing this football game. I don't think the Titans are necessarily bad. We're just not good. This is honestly one of the better games that they've played this year, which is hilarious. So there was some good, there was some bad, there was some ugly. For the good, which not necessarily is going to be a very good. I think Will Levis is still looking that good. I still think if he keeps playing like this, he had no touchdowns, no turnovers, but he looked good. He was executing passes. Dude's got a rocket arm. He was standing in the pocket, taking hits and completing passes. There was even a 2-minute drill at the end of the first half where he led the team all the way down to field goal position. We had 45 seconds. And that's shocking. Vrabel, one of my biggest concerns with Vrabel, really his entire tenure. If there is a minute or less and we have the ball going in the half, he just takes a knee and we walk out. I've never understood why he does that. He always just hangs it up, leaves points on the board. You don't see the Eagles doing that. You don't see the Chiefs doing that. You don't see the Bills doing that. But the Titans always do it. We just take a knee and be done with it. I was kind of glad to see them actually change things up. We had one timeout, and Will Levis was able to go all the way down there. He was fired up. I think it was Nick Westbrook-Akina that caught the ball to get us into field goal position for Nick Folk to get a 53-yard field goal to end the half. So I was pretty excited about that. Another big good part of it was my man Ryan Stonehouse. He had 7 punts for almost 400 yards, and 5 of those 7 were in the 20. That's why I had to get my Ryan Stonehouse jersey. How often you guys see a punter jersey? Even when you're a Titans fan, that is all you got, man. Big special teams guy. This jersey will be good for the next 20 years because they better not let his ass go. My last away jersey was A.J. Brown. Then we traded him 2 months later. So I think that's the good. The bad is the Titans defense. Basically as a whole, our corners are horrible. Our safeties are so absolutely slow, and it's hard to watch. I think everyone in our secondary runs a 6'2" 40. they're all so slow. Honestly, put in some white dudes back there. I'm sure they'll be just as slow. It's embarrassing. It really is. The only bright side for our defense was our defensive line was getting to the quarterback. We had 4 sacks with 2 of Danico Autry. Thank you, Alex, for him. Arden Key got a sack. Thank you, Isaiah, for him. And then Jeffrey Simmons
built
gets a
Jacksonville.
sack. I know. And then Chris Moore was our best wide receiver. Thank you, Curtis, for that. So it's just like it's I don't know, it's just bad. And then the ugly is just everything about the Titans, minus Ryan Stonehouse. We just cannot play complimentary football. We cannot score points. It's been another game where we have yet to score 30. I don't think we scored 30 points since the Obama administration. It's just been embarrassing. The Titans are one of the worst teams in the NFL. Another ugly is just the fact that, yeah, we won a game. It was ugly, but also we're going to be further away from that number 1 overall pick, which, your goal is never to lose games. And I don't believe in tanking. I want to win every game. But, winning these stupid games like this, all it does is kind of hurt us in the long run. So I'm kind of bummed. I'm happy we won, but I'm bummed just because the team's not good. And we know it's not good. Derrick Henry was looking fine. Honestly, a lot of the offense was looking fine. The offensive line played actually its best it had all year. We gave up 8 pressures, I think 1 or 2 sacks. We probably would have had a lot more if it was Malik Willis or Ryan Tannehill. So it just kind of goes to show that Will Levis can, 1, break tackles, and 2, he's not a statue back there. He doesn't scramble, but he also knows how to make guys miss. And he has a really good pocket presence. So it is what it is. I know a lot of Titans fans are still calling for fire Vrabel and all that. Honestly, I'm not willing to fire Vrabel. I think if the Patriots, offer us 2 first-round picks, see you, Mike. But besides that, I think he should stay. It's kind of hard to judge a coach when there's absolutely 0 talent on this team. We can't do anything. We can't open up the playbook because we have no offensive line. We have 1 wide receiver and then a bunch of just practice squad guys. And then our defense is just a bunch of slow people. They're not good. They don't know how to tackle. They don't know how to cover. Christian Fulton has got to be the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. He's so bad. I don't think he's had a single highlight in his 4 years in the NFL. Someone's going to pay him like $10 million a year to suck, though. And I'm kind of excited to see that. And I hope it's somebody in the AFC South because I'd love to play against that man twice a year.
Probably the Texans.
Nah.
Yeah, dude. I hope the Texans get.
I mean, they signed Shaq Griffin.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, the Texans and the Titans just love getting recycled AFC South players.
Wait, do we have our weekly update on Shaq Griffin? How was he this week?
Still on the bench.
Still on the bench.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
I unfortunately did not see number 0 on the field at all for them. Isn't he number 0?
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not see him a single time.
No.
It should be.
No,
12 is the lowest you
down.
can get. Yeah, 12 is the lowest you can get. So that's he's
Is that what Zach Wilson's at?
Probably.
Zach Wilson's probably in negative numbers.
Is Zach Wilson is he even on Madden? Like, is he that bad where they even put him on the game?
Yeah, he's still on.
Oh, he just the Bill Belichick thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just Chad Masters or something.
Yeah. Oh God. That's hilarious. So the Titans are boring.
They're so boring to watch.
They're just a very bad team. It's bad TV, honestly.
It's so hard to watch.
Let me ask you something, Blake. If you guys are like 10 or below in terms of picks, and number 3, number 4 pick comes up, Marvin Mims Jr. is still there. Isn't that his name? Marvin Mims? No, what's his?
Harrison.
Marvin
Mims plays for the Broncos.
Yeah. Harrison, he's there. What do you trade for him? Levis needs a target.
The Titans
you trade up for him, or do you?
A Colt.
I don't think the Titans can afford to trade him. The only reason we just don't have the draft capital. I would love Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think if the Titans are picking 3 or 4 and he's still there, it'd be hard to pass him up. But the Titans need a left tackle so bad that I'm not trading up unless like Joe Alt's gone, the guy from Penn State's gone, and then Marvin Harrison's standing there. I would trade obviously our first pick, so we'd switch picks, and then probably Harold Landry. I'd have to throw players in because we just can't afford to throw away picks. Just because
How long before you guys eventually trade him away to an NFC team and he goes off and goes to a Super Bowl with that NFC team?
I think it's going to be this summer. I mean, he was extended by what's his name, J-Rob, and I will say Harold Landry was really good 2 years ago, and he tore his ACL. Didn't play a single snap last year. This year,
I was talking about Marvin Harrison.
Oh, Marvin Harrison.
And when he plays the best, you end up trading him away to an NFC team.
I'd probably kill myself. I think I'd be a fan of whatever team that is. I would be an Eagles fan right now. I just hate the Eagles just because of how bad their fans are. But like watching the Eagles every week because they're always on prime time. Half the team are the Titans. They got Zach Cunningham. They got Marcus Mariota. They got AJ Brown. They got Kevin Byard. They have so many other dudes. It's just like it's kind of shocking to see. They were Sean Evans. Like it's weird. Like they have so many Titans players that are all contributing. And then Titans over here with 3 wins or 4 wins. I don't know. I don't give a fuck how many wins we have. We suck. That's how many wins we got. But Ryan Stonehouse, man, that's the dude, man. Best punter in the NFL. Best punter in the NFL. I would argue he's the best player in the NFL. Who executes as much as Ryan Stonehouse consistently? Dude's never had a bad game. Every time he's on the field, executes perfectly. Ryan Stonehouse, MVP.
This reminds me of the Pat McAfee fans. When Pat McAfee was at his height.
Hey, Pat McAfee was a GOAT.
He was the GOAT. But I think that year Luck was hurt and he had that fake fake punt that he threw for a touchdown or something against Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving. I think I talked about Pat McAfee more than anybody else.
I
love Pat McAfee.
The self onside kick recovery against the Texans.
I remember that.
Iconic moment.
Like, I remember watching that live.
I was so pissed when that happened.
I remember I was at a bar and I had homework to do. And my mom got mad at me because it was like Sunday night. It was Sunday night football. And I was like, Mom, I got homework to do. Can we go home? She was like, what are you talking about? Why didn't you do it before? It's like, well, the Colts were on
football.
What are you talking about? All right. Does anybody else have any more Titans comments?
No.
I think
besides the fact that it was never them.
That's true. Vrabel going to New England during their bye week to get honored. It's got to be telling. I don't think you guys should fire him, but I feel like he wants out. I feel like it's maybe a 3-way trade with New England, Tennessee, and Washington. Washington gets Belichick.
Yeah, I think he's a good head coach. I think he definitely could have won a Super Bowl one day. He doesn't. I have a lot of issues with Vrabel. I think he's a good coach, but his ego is so bad that like we just can't win games. We just can't overcome that ego. It would be firing him this year would be unfortunate, just because unless there's some like offensive coordinator we know we can get. Like I would love to do from the Lions. I think I would take him right now over Mike Vrabel, but I don't want to fire Vrabel because I think he has trade value.
Isn't that Jim Bob Cooter?
I don't know if I want him.
No, isn't he? No, he went to Tampa. Wait, no, Indy. That's right, Indy. That's right.
Yeah, Big Coot.
Big Coot.
Big Cooters on the Colts, man. Colts love Big Cooters.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up here. Gentlemen, I want to thank you all for your time and your insights talking about the game of football. I want to thank you all for watching. Go ahead and hit the like, subscribe button. Got a 35 like goal on this episode. And as mentioned earlier, we're trying to hit 420 subs as the next miniature goal. The big goal is 1,000 and the giant goal is 6969. So if you can help us along the way, hit the button and then hit the notification
bell. 420?
Don't ask about that smell.
Don't ask about the smell. So yeah, help us along the way. Hit the notification bell so when we put out new content, you don't miss anything. Check out chaoticallyintolerant.com where Alex spends most of his efforts. And we'll all be contributing to some blogs is it on your website?
Yes.
Okay. So that's how you can access it. So check them out and be good people.
If that thing isn't white, or if that thing isn't, if it's not white, then hit the like. I'm trying to get my fucking things.
Tell you, bro, say Rachel.
Hit the like.
I know. I was like, where's this going with this?
Yeah.
I was like, what was the last
that
time
like
Alex is
button.
gonna be on this podcast?
What was the last one we figured out? Oh, it was this one.
This one? Was it this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Go Bulls.
I don't understand how you're able to do that.
wonder
It's
if-
some
I
sort
wonder
of
if this one
weird
is something.
software thing on his end.
There. Oh no way! That's a new one. Found a new
On
one.
a rainy day.
All right, bigger people.